Welcome to the Corporate Governance Program. I'm Amir Qureshi. Thank you for joining us. I hope you've been enjoying our programs and have found them informative so far. We have a couple of very good guests for you in this show as well, and I hope you will enjoy it once more.
As I was mentioning, Amir, there are certain areas where the contribution of independent directors is seen to be more important. One such area is strategic management. As independent directors, they bring a broader perspective from their respective areas of expertise. They're better able to monitor the performance of management against agreed upon benchmarks and in reporting of the performance to the board.
Chartered accountants have played a very dominating role, a very pioneering role in making this happen. So the three professional institutes, like four, Institute of Chartered Accountants, Institute of Cost and Management Accountants, Institute of Corporate Secretaries, and the Institute of Chartered Secretaries. These four are also the founders.
Our first guest is the President and CEO of the Pakistan Institute of Corporate Governance, PICG, Mr. Fawad Hashmi. Thank you very much for being on the program. Aapka bahut-bahut shukriya.
Thank you, Amir.
Before we get started and talk about corporate governance, can you give me a little bit of background about PICG, the Pakistan Institute of Corporate Governance, and how it came into being?
PICG came into being as a public-private endeavor. The public element was Securities Exchange Commission of Pakistan, which basically spearheaded in a memorandum of agreement, a sort of understanding with International Finance Corporation. And the express intent of the memorandum was to build capacity through the creation of an institute which would be focused primarily on corporate governance practices, increasing awareness of good practices, and imparting education, imparting training. This was going back to August 2005, and the institute was incorporated. It remained nascent for a couple of years, and then from last year, 2007, we developed a product with the technical support of International Finance Corporation, which was a board development series. And
can I just ask you a couple of other questions just before we get into specifics? So the institute has been established, I suppose, in collaboration or in association with IFC, but it is a separate organization, a separate company, which has its own governance structure and so on. Is that right?
Yes, it's a company incorporated under the Companies Act. It doesn't have a share capital. It's a not-for-profit company. Yeah. But it has 19 founder members who are the shareholders, and it has the ability under its articles to increase its membership. The founder members, and hence the public-private partnership, represent the two main regulators of the country, which is State Bank of Pakistan and Securities Exchange. And the other represent private sector associations. So you have the three stock exchanges, you have the businesses through the Chambers of Commerce, the Federation, you have the banks through the Pakistan Banks Association, you have the non-banking financial institutions through their respective leasing, mudaraba, insurance, investment banks, and Mutual Funds Association. You have the academia through LUMS and IBA. So it's a very good mix, and effectively anyone who is involved in either regulating or self-regulating is happening of money that is raised from the public came together to put through good governance practices.
So very good initiative. And one of the criticisms people often made of projects like the corporate governance project that IFC is undertaking in Pakistan is that there was never really anything left behind. Once the project was finished or wound up, the money ran out, then there was no tangible benefits left. In this case, PICG, which is obviously, which is evolving, is something that's going to be left behind for many, many years, hopefully for generations, to continue on the work that IFC has started under this project. Would that be the case?
Amir, before I answer that question, I should mention that I consciously left out some very important founders, and this was the Professional Institute of Accountants. The reason I left it out is because I am a chartered accountant, and I didn't want to put them out at first, but chartered accountants have played a very dominating role, a very pioneering role in making this happen. So the three professional institutes, like four: Institute of Chartered Accountants, Institute of Cost and Management Accountants, Institute of Corporate Secretaries, and the Institute of Chartered Secretaries. These four are also the founders. Now, coming back to what you had said, IFC, I'm sure you've had Kaisar Naseem come on this program earlier, who is the manager of the Pakistan governance project. IFC operates in different ways to build capacity. The way that it entered into agreement with Securities Exchange was that it would, on the part of the Securities Exchange, they would set up the institute. And on IFC's part, they would give the technical content that was required, the technical support. IFC would also engage people who were experts, and would, at the conclusion of the project, would transfer the services of the experts to PICG, and hence the capacity would be built up. And as you said, that at the end of the project, anything that was remaining in the shape of any tangible assets, the knowledge base that had been built up, would be transferred to the institute. What's been happening is that we are working hand in hand. And not only is PICG building up its own staff, which is trained by IFC, but IFC is also engaging in taking on experts, so that at the end of it, we do not see, we see a continuity. So the continuity that you're talking about is very much there. We are building capacity. IFC is ensuring that there is a minimum which will be transferred to us when they leave. So, inshallah, this is going to continue.
And can I ask you now about some of the initiatives that you have undertaken in the relatively short period of time that the Institute has been around? What are some of the highlights of your activities so far?
Okay. I think the most important initiative is that apart from the 19 founders, we have opened up our membership directly to companies. So the articles allow us to do so. So now we have direct engagement with the corporate sector.
I just need to stop you for 1 second because it's time for a commercial break. So we'll be back with more of the Corporate Governance Program, but after a short break, so don't go away.